Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of Nintendotherapy, the only show that believes Nintendo is therapy and should be covered by your healthcare provider. It's also a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. With me again this week is Harrison and Shawn, both of them. Oh, and I don't think I said my name. I'm Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Welcome back, Harrison. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
And it's time for my favorite hour of the week, where we just kind of talk about Nintendo stuff. We'll start with you. What have you been playing?
After I talked to you guys last week, I got my Steam Deck. So
did you get any like Nintendo stuff running on there?
Can we talk?
Because I see people all the time that have like GameCube and like everything on there.
We're not sponsored. Can we talk about emulation on here?
I don't think the police are coming.
Well, and
I don't hear nothing.
Well, and you know what, guys? I do own or have owned a lot of these games. So the emulation on Steam Deck is ridiculous. And guys, listen, if I'm saying that, it's because I'm not an emulation guy. I don't know how it works. It's very difficult for me, I think. So if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. So the emulation on it, I tell you what, I tried out Tony Hawk's Underground the other day just to try it out. I played it for 2 hours.
That's a good game to test it with, because that's like a fast-paced game. You'll notice like any kind of lag.
Exactly. But it was one of those, I tried to test it out and then I got stuck. And then I realized I need to do some actual work or play some actual games or do something. So is there any games you guys have played recently that you're like, wow, this game is timeless. This game will be fun forever.
Honestly, the first game that comes to mind is the game we talked about last week, the Yoshi's Island. I feel like it's very timeless. And one thing I always bring up on the show is Super Mario RPG is, I think, my favorite game of all time. I've often said, when I finish a game, I kind of rank the game on yeah, that was fun, but would I have rather have spent that time playing Mario RPG instead?
Sure.
So I'll always go back to that one.
How about you, Shawn?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's gameplay loop. So anything that has a really nice, Monster Hunter Rise comes to mind right now. But that series, hey, this is the gameplay cycle, and that tends to be the stuff I go back to. So, stuff that's on my Switch, like the Castlevania collections, the Cowabunga collection, to me, those are timeless.
Yep. That's a good answer.
I know it's different for everybody. I don't know. I just I feel like those, for example, are the best examples of those genres. So to me, it's really hard to find something modern where it's oh yeah, this hits the spot.
I can think of endless RPGs that I would say are in that category as well. Like Chrono Trigger seems to have new generations constantly discovering it. Then you obviously have the Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy 9, I'd say, is particularly timeless because the graphics haven't aged as horribly as 7's has. And it's got a remake recently where they kind of touched them up, and that's on the Switch, and I like it. What else?
Right.
What do you got for an answer, Harrison?
Oh, well, I like Tony Hawk's Underground and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 were for me examples of games that will just be always fun. And actually,
you just hit a hot button for me because
all right.
I stopped playing at Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. And they recently did that remake where they did a re-release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. And I played it because I love those games. And I was like, oh, I wish 3 was in here. I wish they like did the trilogy because those were my Tony Hawk games. And I found out that they had greenlit and were going to go through with in the same vein, a release of 3 and 4, but it got canceled. And I'm so mad about that because I was like, I would have had 3, which is my favorite of the 3, and 4, which would have been a brand new game for me to try for the first time. So I'm like still upset that I heard they canceled that.
Well, if they package 3 and 4 together, I mean, that would be pretty massive because 4 is a pretty big game and it's so much different than the first 3 because it's not
I've
like
read that. Yeah, it's more like do things in your own order, and there's no more time limit. And I haven't played it, but I read a lot about it because I'm, at least according to this thing I read, it said that they were going to do a bundle with it.
right. Well, if you're patient, I could see that happening because 3, four and Underground were huge, but 3, I mean, that was just a monumental game, and it was the final game to be released on N64 in America at least.
Yep.
So I mean, I could see them doing that in the future. And speaking of which, this is probably for later, but Activision Blizzard's on sale right now. If you have not played the 1-2 remaster, it's like $16 right now for
Oh,
like if they
sweet. And it's
nice.
worth it too, because I've sank countless hours into that remaster. It's really well done, which I'm pretty sure they remastered it or re-released it one time before that, and that one was not good. I bought that one too, and I don't remember what was off about it. I think the controls were a little off or something, but I don't know. I just remember really not liking that one, but this one is really good.
this one is
Oh,
really
you know
good.
what? Continue, but I already know what else is timeless because I was playing it Friday. But yeah,
I bought it for full price, and I was happy about that. So that was all.
yeah, I enjoyed the Tony Hawk remasters; those were fun. So this past Friday, my niece and nephew and I had a little game night. So we played the current Mario Party, which I think that series is kind of timeless. We played Mario Kart, which I think
For
falls
sure.
under that.
Yep.
And I finally found a way to enjoy Minecraft with them. And I would say that game's timeless because it's just is. But I've learned that for me as an uncle to enjoy it, because I'm not good at building stuff or farm sims or anything like that. But I'm good at going, hey guys, you get too many animals in this pen. I'm going to open this up and then get yelled at by them. Like, hey, what do you? No, stop! And then I move to the other side and open it up from that side. So that I learned how to play Minecraft finally.
For the amount of Minecraft I've played, I should be much better at building stuff, but I basically can only make like cube houses and like a cube barn for my animals, and like I know I don't get very into the architecture either, so you don't really need to enjoy the game.
But yeah, I mean, they've tried repeatedly to teach my wife and I how to play, and we kind of get the basics. But I'm not a very big. So my niece and nephew really like games that don't have a specific goal that you can just kind of play around in, and that's not something I'm huge in. So once I embraced it to almost when we would play stuff as kids, where I'm like, all right, well, what makes this fun for me? And I'm like, oh, well, this makes it fun for me. And, they get mad. And yeah, it was a good time.
If you enjoy RPGs and you kind of like Minecraft, definitely play Dragon Quest Builders if you haven't.
I tried
It's
the demo. It's interesting. But again, I couldn't get into it.
right. 1 and 2 are very different, but the story mode in number 2, which you eventually learn all the building mechanics throughout the story mode, is phenomenal. And I don't know as far as compared to other JRPGs, but the story is like 50 hours, and it's pretty
Oh,
great.
wow.
So if you ever see it on sale, if you like JRPGs, I highly recommend it.
Well, going back to what you were saying about emulation, Harrison, I'm also kind of clueless when it comes to that type of stuff. Like, I have a Raspberry Pi that's loaded up with, all sorts of, it's got like every Super Nintendo, every Nintendo, that type of thing, every Game Boy Advance game. But I don't play it that often
Mm.
because I don't know. I feel like it's like overwhelming with how much is on there. But something I did see this week that really piqued my interest that I did not know was a thing was apparently people are modding their Game Cubes where
Mm-hmm.
they take the laser disc reader out and they insert like a thing where you can insert like a micro SD card and you can load obviously that card up with like every GameCube game, throw it in there, and that really appeals to me because you're basically playing it on the original hardware, kind of, with definitely the original controllers, which is a huge thing with emulation for me, is like the controller thing. Like I tried hooking up a PlayStation 4 controller to that Raspberry Pi and it beat me. I couldn't do it. I'm not good at it. Um so yeah, I'm like I was like super excited when I saw that, and one thing that I like about that is it fits something that I also am like passionate about, which is like game preservation, because those GameCube, anything that has a laser eye in it, that's going to fade away eventually and not stop working.
Oh
But
yeah, it's true.
this will help that last forever.
Right, and it's crazy that people mod like every Nintendo console past its past when they stop, putting things out for that console
Yeah.
because where I live, like where I live now, I know like modding 3DS is really popular. Modding old Wii systems are really popular and super easy to do. Uh, as simple as just uploading like a SD card. I mean,
Yep.
so it's interesting after the fact. Did you hear about the GameCube screen?
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was like a recently like uncovered. Was it footage or did they find the actual screen?
Well,
I think it was an image, right?
it was well, this man, I think he used to work for IGN. I don't know where he was working at the time. He put some footage on YouTube, which I saw some places where they were calling it like unreleased or uncovered footage, but I don't know. He had it, but it appears to
It was
be
something Nintendo had basically never announced, that they were developing this LCD screen for the that you could attach to your GameCube, and it also apparently had 3D without 3D glasses capabilities, which would have been way before the 3DS did.
right because this is E3 back in 2002. And I guess they said that they weren't sure how they would sell it or how they would package it, and that the technology could have been more expensive than the actual GameCube itself. So
Oh,
that would,
definitely in 2002, I imagine it would have been, especially
but
if it had that 3D capability.
right, but could you? I mean, not only did the 3DS come after that, but I can't remember what brand it was, but I had a screen for my GameCube and a battery
Yeah, I
pack.
know there was a third party that did a few systems. They did one for the original PlayStation as well. And did they
Mad
do one for
Cat
the
or something.
PS2? I think they might have done the
Oh
PS2
yeah, it might
as
have been
well.
Mad Cats because they were doing
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
everything.
This
yeah.
was when people were putting, all the TVs in their car and their
Oh
headrests.
yeah, that used to be a big like, hey, and it's like, now
It was
that's
awesome.
just a feature.
It
So,
They don't even have them anymore because you just put your cell phone. Well, they might still have them, but I don't think it's a big thing to have TVs in your headrests anymore. I think people just put their cell phone on something. I could be
right,
wrong about that. I haven't seen it in a while.
right. I had a Mad Cats and a battery pack for my GameCube, and I thought. I mean, my friends thought it was awesome. I mean, because we could. It was portable. I mean, we could literally
oh
take it
yeah,
on a bus on a short bus trip if we wanted to. So I mean, we thought it was awesome at the time. So yeah, I can't imagine if they would have done that.
Well, like you were saying, we're constantly discovering new things for these older systems, or people are creating new things. Like there's so many like Game Boy Advance. You can get so many modified like Game Boy Advance or like Game Boy Colors on the
Yeah.
internet. Like you can customize it with your own backlight or whatever you want to do. I like that they have those EverDrive carts for Nintendo 64. I don't have one yet, but I think I'm going to get one because originally I was trying to collect all the Nintendo 64 games. And now, retro gaming, the pricing's getting out of control. And I kind of already have all the ones I want anyway. Like I got the important ones first.
Yeah.
So I've got like 50 Nintendo 64 games, and all the ones like, I got all the basics. I got like your Banjo-Kazooies, your Marios, but any of like the big titles I have. So
Do you have any of the weird titles that are hard to get or no?
Trying to look over at my walls to see. I know I have a few of the ones that are kind of pricey, like Harvest Moon 64 I know is pricey, but I have that because I loved it when it was new. Like I still have, that's my original copy of Harvest Moon 64. What else?
Do you have Shadows of the Empire?
I have I have all the Star Wars games.
You get all of them? Okay.
Yeah, there's 5 of them, I think. There's Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron, the Battle for Endor, Episode 1 Racing, and there might be one more. I wish they weren't so far away from me right now. They're like just barely out of sight because I know I have a few of the rare ones, but I think I have Worms Armageddon. I think that's a pricey one.
Oh yeah. I feel like almost every Worms game gets pricey at some point, except whatever the most recent ones are.
Oh, I know. I have the Mario parties, which sell for a lot. Mario parties and Paper Mario. But I don't have any of the ones that are like $1,000,
Okay.
like the crazy valuable ones. I have the ones that are like $300, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And I got them all before the prices went out of control, so I'm kind of happy about that. And now I think I'm going to do an EverDrive because I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to spend like all. This is growing up. Is when you look at like a collectible, like we also do comic books, and it's like you look at that and you're like, you start thinking of all the other stuff you could get for that amount of money rather than just I want that thing.
Yep.
So no thanks. There's a lot more I can do with $500 than buy a single Nintendo 64 game. So anyway, one thing I wanted to talk about this week is this rant that I wrote down while I was at work. I told you guys before we started for recording.
I like how it's always a rant with you.
Because I work alone. So
That's not helping the use of rant, but okay.
My brain has time to just churn.
Shawn, this is the Nintendotherapy podcast. Yeah. This is weekly therapy for Kevin.
Yeah, that's what this is just therapy for me, nobody else.
It's basically how every podcast he has starts. It's just for him to be therapeutic.
Here's what's bothering me this week, and I can't afford a real therapist. No, I'm just kidding.
I do my best to avoid making every podcast about arguments I got in on the internet every week.
You definitely have improved on that, yes.
But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about like something that occurred to me while I was at work is basically how solid the Nintendo Switch library is, because I was thinking about my backlog and I was thinking about like games I need to finish and this, that, and the other thing. And I made a list, and so I have games that I'm playing currently that I haven't finished. You got Yoshi's Island, I'm on the last world, Skyward Sword, Pokemon Violet. Okay? Then I've got games that I own, so I've bought these already, but I haven't even started them. Doom 2016, Doom 3, because they had a sale once and there were 5 Doom games for I think $20, and I was like, I'm doing that. So I beat Doom 1 and 2, and I have not yet beat Doom 64, Doom 2016, or Doom 3. But they were all included in that that bundle. Also, Kirby Superstar Saga I have on there, Grandia 2, Dragon Quest 3, Golf Story, and Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So that's like 1, 2, 3. That's like 8 games that I bought but haven't even played yet.
I'm very jealous because my back catalog is significantly bigger.
And then you go on to the category of games I don't even own, but I know I'm going to play. So you got Pikmin 3, you've got Metroid Prime, you've got Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, new Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe I want to get back into, which I only have on my Wii U, so I want to get that on my Switch. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I remember liking when it was announced. And basically, to not go through all these games, just that's just a taste of the fact that this list isn't even including the games that I'm done with. I finished them. I played them, like things like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Luigi's Mansion 3. Like all these things that like I'm finished with. This library to me, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, the stuff I haven't even gotten to yet. The list is bigger than some games I would like the whole list for some systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't list this many like Dreamcast games I'd want to play, and I love the Dreamcast, but I think I love like 6 games for it.
Jumping off that, just because I'm curious what you guys do, so I'm trying really hard not to continue to add to the back catalog, but I did end up getting Sifu on sale physically for Switch. It should be coming in Friday, but
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Sifu.
It's a roguelite, but you're like a kung fu master, and every time you die, when you come back, you age.
Oh, I think I heard another podcast talking about that.
So it was a game that intrigued me, and I wanted to get it. And I'm like, I'm going to wait till it goes on sale, and it did. And it's just, are there, because I think it's on everything but Xbox. I'm sure it's coming to Xbox, but do you guys get in the habit of waiting till there's a Switch port on some stuff before you'll even bother with it?
Well, I mean, I know that I do, and now that I have my Switch and Steam Deck, it's all going to be handheld now, because I mean before I had the Steam Deck, I mean, if a game came out and I knew it was coming to Switch, for me it was okay. I know I want to play this game laying down on the couch or laying in bed, and or I want to play it on the airplane, or just the overall like convenience of it. But I will say that there are some times where the price point can be higher.
Yeah.
Yep. The price point could be higher and the quality could be lower, because I do own a couple of Switch ports that are unplayable, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
That I have. Like one of my all-time favorite indie games is unplayable on Switch, but it's awesome on PC. Or I actually did a playthrough on Steam Deck just because I wanted to play it portable.
What is it that doesn't work so well on Switch?
It's a flying sim, and there's absolutely no draw distance in it at all. So when you're flying,
that's a problem.
So when you're flying,
where did you learn to fly?
Yeah, when you're flying, it looks like you're flying in just this black box.
Okay.
And the immersion is the biggest selling point to that game.
Right.
So even though it's one of my favorite all-time games to play, and I don't mind that I gave him $7 on Switch, it's unplayable on Switch, unfortunately.
So in your case, Kevin, the Doom 2016, I have that on Switch, but I've played it on other platforms. That's one that runs amazing. It doesn't look as pretty as it does on a higher end system, but it plays beautifully. And I'm like, wow, you get this to work on the system. So it's always interesting to me to see which ones work and then which ones don't.
Well, yeah, I think my answer to your question would be like, I don't think I do, but I think it's because my current obsession seems to be Nintendo first party stuff.
Okay.
Like other than Final Fantasy, which you and I have talked about, has always been an obsession of mine. It's kind of like I'm starting to learn that like as much video games as I've played, I kind of just replay the same games over and over again. Like I love when I see online someone like, my goal is to beat every Zelda game. And I'm like, just once? Because I've beaten them all like 4 times. I'm so
Right.
embarrassed. um, or like same thing goes for Final Fantasy. My goal is to beat every Final Fantasy. It's like I've done it a bunch. And I think I've been doing that instead of playing a lot of new games. So like I thought I was a big Nintendo guy. Turns out I was just a Mario and Zelda guy because as we've been talking about on the show, I haven't played like any Metroid games. Now I have because I'm focusing on it, and
Right.
I'm up to Super Metroid now and loving it.
Nice.
And same goes with like Kirby. I've played more Kirby than Metroid, but there's like 50 Kirby games. So
this year.
I
yeah, yeah.
I
Just this year.
definitely have played more Kirby on Switch because honestly, outside of Dream Course, which is one of my favorite games ever, I never really got into Kirby.
I got back into Pokemon this year. So
Yep.
I've been like doing catch up with Nintendo. Luigi's Mansion 3 I just finished, which I've been wanting to play that since it launched. Finally did. I liked the second one on my DS, so I was like, I knew I was going to like 3. Just took me forever to get to it, I guess, because I replayed Final Fantasy 7 probably 3 times in the middle.
And that's the thing too with the Switch's library is like there's so much good stuff, whether it's new releases or re-releases of old stuff or indie games or whatever. Like I don't feel like I've had this problem of so much quality content since the Xbox 360. So it's just like it's so hard to pick and choose which ones I want to actually devote time to.
Yeah, I don't know. I was telling you, I don't know when I want to play Metroid Prime Remaster, and I don't know when I'm going to get to it because I have this list that I basically just went through with you guys of like games I've bought that I haven't finished and games that I know I'm going to buy when they come out. And it's like, am I ever going to get to Prime Remaster? They'll have the Switch 2 out by the time I'm around to it.
Are backlogs stressful to you guys?
I
No,
try not to let it be. Like there have been times where I've noticed that I'm playing and I'm like just playing to get to the end of the game where I'm like, all right, let me just finish this so I can get to the next one. But I kind of blame that on the game. Like because I've also noticed the opposite happen where I can still get lost in a game. So I think the ones that I'm just hurrying to get through are just games that I didn't enjoy as much.
I it used to be a problem because I'd make a list and then it's like, oh, I gotta cross stuff off the list. But now I just play stuff like I said, like when I was a kid. So I've accepted that basically until Tears of the Kingdom comes out because I didn't get Breath of the Wild at release, so I want to be there with everyone discovering stuff at the first time and everything. But Persona 5 is probably going to be my main thing until May. So I just try and do a little of that every day. And I know it's a big game. And, obviously I'm playing the stuff for the show. And occasionally, like, when Sifu comes in, fine, I'll pop it in, see how it is. But I probably won't sit and devote time to beating it for a while.
I took a week off of work to play Breath of the Wild when it launched. And I got offered a new job
Yeah.
where they asked me, can you start on Monday? And it was a really good job. It was a temporary job. I don't have it anymore. It was a contract that lasted 2 years. But anyway, yeah, it was a really good job and I couldn't say no to it. And I was like, man, but this kills my vacation where I was planning to just play Zelda for a full week. Missed that job though. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of chit chat. Do you guys want to talk some Nintendo news?
Is
Sure.
there any?
Not a whole lot this week.
Just a
Harrison,
little.
you want to go first, or
Yeah.
you should go first because yours seems more like it matters.
Well, I don't know if it matters, but back in February, Doug Bowser did a an interview with Associated Press. I don't know if it was at the Super Mario World in Los Angeles. I don't know exactly when that opened, if it was last month.
Yeah, it was.
And they just released the interview a few days ago, and I'll tell you, I mean, I thought it was interesting because I mean, it's Associated Press, and it's Doug Bowser of Nintendo, like a U.S. representative talking to, I don't know. I mean, just video game news and media is very interesting. Uh, how we ingest it, how we consume it. Because I've never read a video game article from this place before, but
Yeah.
uh, they talked about basically what's next uh, for Nintendo. They're excited about Super Mario World. They're I guess they're adding on a Donkey Kong ride to the
Ooh.
one, to the one in Osaka. So I think I'm going to try to get out there, but I think they're also going to expand to Singapore as well at some point. So if they do that, I'm just a short plane ride away from that one. Uh, so they talked about that. Of course, they talked about uh, the uh, the $70 price point for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and
No, I
Doug.
did see them talking about that in the news, and I'm curious to hear you tell us like what their answer was, but I just want to like get my prediction out. Is one thing I saw a lot of people saying was the file size on that would have required them to use basically a a, a tab, whatever you want to call the games, um, with more memory. So like they would have had to use the 16 gig instead of the traditional, I guess, what is it, 12?
I heard it was 32 and not 16,
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
which which okay, but I mean
Oh yeah, because
I
I think the game is 17 gigs, so that makes sense. They would have had to use the 32, and probably every other game uses a 16.
Yeah.
I but I don't. Those are all. I don't know. I don't know those numbers because there's way bigger games than that on Nintendo Switch already. There's way bigger games that are not even $60 maybe.
Huh?
So I don't know. I mean, Doug Bowser. He was basically it. In summary, if you didn't see the interview, it's okay because I found it to be kind of boring. I actually find Doug Bowser to be kind of a boring person. It's kind of, I don't know if it's a hot take. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, he's no
but
Reggie.
he really didn't say very much. Here's the thing. Here's what I think. They're trying it out, and
Yeah.
they're basically saying, "What are you guys not going to play Zelda? Really?"
They're saying Switch 2 games are going to cost this much.
Well, here's what I want to know. Okay, I could see moving forward every Zelda and Mario game being $70. Okay, how about Bayonetta? How about Kirby? How about Yoshi? Like, are all of
Yeah, no
these
one's
games?
paying $70 for Yoshi. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that right now.
because Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I'm sure like it's going to be huge. There's going to be 10,000 Koroks. I mean, Gerard from the Completionist is going to go absolutely insane. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be really entertaining to watch. So, but isn't it just kind of like, are you not going to play Zelda? Like, are you not going to pay the
Yeah.
extra $10?
Yeah.
Really? Like, and by the way, like we're going to announce the DLC like prior to that, and that's going to be an extra like $20. And there's also going to be like a you
Yeah,
know
so you're going to pay $100 for Zelda. So don't
right
don't complain about the 70.
right, and so to me that's what I got. And of course they asked about the new device. Doug Bowser, I won't read the whole quote, but he said that we are in uncharted territory with the Switch since it's in its seventh year. And he said that he still sees the Switch being relevant for the next few years because it's a unique system. Which I say,
Ooh,
Doug Bowser, is it? Like it was unique in 2017,
yeah.
and I love it. It's my favorite system of all time. Is it a unique system anymore? Because I I
Well,
wouldn't.
most of the features that I think he would argue making it unique, developers don't use. Like the Joy-Cons have so many like motion sensitive capabilities, like basically like an HD Wii remote, but none of the games use them. Like I'm playing Skyward Sword right now, and a lot of those motion controls are left over from the Wii game, but I'm always like, wow, I don't know any Switch games that kind of do this. It's interesting. Like, and I remember when it first came out, you remember the HD Rumble? I've heard that
Yeah.
almost I've heard that only like one game, the game that that it launched with.
One
No
two.
other games have used that HD Rumble feature. So it's kind of like it's unique in ways that nobody's looking for.
I would say the versatility of the Switch is still unique in a way, but it's not unique like it was in 2017. So
No,
I
especially like I don't know how it works because I'm not an Xbox person, but a lot of Xbox games can go mobile on their phone. So just the fact that the Switch goes handheld isn't completely unique.
right, it does it maybe the best at this
Yeah.
point. But when I start thinking about the technologies I desperately want to see in the next system and the online capabilities that I want to or need to see in the next Switch.
Yeah.
I don't or next system. I don't really see it as being unique. So basically, in summary, it was an interesting and kind of a vague, boring interview. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's
And
no Reggie. He's not as interesting as Reggie was.
and I don't know. I don't know if they cut any of this interview out. But the next question was, will we ever see Madden be brought to the Switch? and and Doug Bowser responds to, you have to talk to my good friends over at EA about that, which I thought was like, wow, okay, you could have said no idea or no plans or something like that, but like you have to talk to my friends over at EA. Like what?
Well, you mentioning what capabilities the next system will have made me think of so there was an interesting thing I saw this week in one of the videos I watched. I can't remember which one, but somebody was speculating on if the next Nintendo system will have backwards capability because of that news story we talked about last week. And I remember they brought up a good point about Nintendo might not want to do backwards compatibility because look at how many Switch games were Nintendo Wii games, and they were basically like, Nintendo's. It would not surprise me if the next system has one of its launch games as Mario Kart 8 Ultimate Deluxe Edition, and all this DLC that everyone's excited about right now is included. Like, wouldn't surprise me at all.
I wrote down the Mario Kart thing. Like, do we ever need a new Mario Kart again?
So
Which go ahead, Sean.
I played it's funny too because it's like, of course, we just did Yoshi's Island, and one of the new tracks they made is based around Yoshi's Island, and it's really good. But what I'm finding disappointing about the DLC, and I saw an article on this where the rationale kind of made sense, but they're bringing a lot of Mario Kart Tour tracks to it, which is the mobile game, which I don't play, and I think they're kind of the weaker tracks overall. And there's like 9 of them now out of the DLC from that. But I would agree. It's like you need to. I don't know what gimmick you come up with to make a new Mario Kart, unless it's just going to be we're going back to Super Mario Kart, and there's going to just be kart racing with no crazy stuff. So yeah, I don't know where you go with it.
They could also put out. I just occurred to me. They could also next Nintendo system launch game, Smash Brothers Ultimate with all of the DLC characters. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so many of those they could do, and sell a bunch of systems day one.
I think, I think, I wish the Switch would have been built in with the tabletop games, like the whatever the 51 plus one,
Oh
like the
yeah.
tabletop games, because I bought that, and if I'm with someone who doesn't play games, or it can be with like family or whatever it is, that's always a good game to have in your system because
Mm-hmm.
everybody can just pick it up. So I really wish the Switch would have built in that, and like just for whoever buys a Switch, because I think they would have
Yeah.
it would have been a selling point. Like, oh, like you buy the system, you get 50 games, kind of.
Yeah, move over Wii Sports. We we got
Exactly,
50 games.
exactly. Or Wii Sports, that'll be fine too.
Nintendo Land was kind of similar. There was a pack in with a bunch of mini games type thing.
Yeah.
Not nearly as many though.
Hey, speaking of going back to the Zelda thing, there will be no Zelda at PAX East. They announced, which is starting. In about a week, I think.
Yeah,
Pa-
Nintendo said that they were going to focus on mobile multiplayer gaming or something like that
do you have any predictions for
at
that?
PAX. I don't really pay attention to to that end of gaming, so no, I don't really.
Because I was looking at the calendar, I was thinking, okay, like maybe Advance Wars and maybe Bayonetta Origins, but I really have no idea what they will announce at this presentation next week.
We'll see.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a Zelda presentation, or do you think we're about done on the Tears of the Kingdom news?
I think they'll
I
do
think
like a mini direct.
I don't think they usually Nintendo doesn't like outright lie. Like usually if they say something's not going to be there, it's not gonna. So
I,
I don't think they'll be doing anything at PAX with it. Was that what you asked?
not
No,
not
he
not
means in general.
Oh, in
like
general,
in April.
yeah, they might do something like a few weeks before it launches. I'm not sure.
I think they might do a mini that might have like a more interesting story trailer attached to it.
Yeah,
And
where they
maybe they'll
will.
show like one or two of the abilities or something, but I don't think they're gonna be crazy and be like, all right, so here's a 15-minute demo of the game, and
I think definitely by the time it launches, so it might be a little before, it might be the week of launch. They'll do something that like an official Nintendo thing, a video that like takes you through like the mechanics of the game. But I don't know. We'll see. That like if they don't do it, obviously the online reviewers are going to do it.
I think there's going to be a mini because I think there's going to be too much merchandise to talk about. I
yeah,
mean,
there's that too.
yeah,
So,
because we're getting another OLED. We have to. I was wondering if we're going to get like they released a Game and Watch last year, I think, didn't they? Oh, but anyways, I think
oh,
there's going to
that
be
was the
yeah,
anniversary Game and Watch.
right. So I think there's going to be a mini one, but as far as the game goes, I'm about done. Like I don't really want to know anything else at this point.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. That's kind of why I want to play this one at launch, so that
Yeah,
I'm not, we live in the age of things being spoiled. So I don't want to be like, oh, well, I wish I didn't see that before I started. So
exactly, exactly.
Well, the news item I uncovered for this week there were other things, but I cull through them and I just pick out what I think is worth talking about. And the only one I really saw this week that I was like, sure, was that the eShop charts are out. So there's two lists. There's the total eShop charts, and then a separate list of games that are like only available digitally. So they made that like a separate category. Anyone want to, or Shawn, did you look at the notes ahead of time?
I did. I can pull them up
Okay, then.
actually.
Well, no, I was going to have you guys guess, but.
Oh, I can guess. Let me look at the notes.
um, I'll just go through. We'll talk about them. So the number 10 most downloaded game for last month. I think this is for last month. I couldn't find. I swear the article didn't say like what the duration of time this was.
Ooh, that's a good
This
game.
is measuring.
That's
But
a really good game.
I think this is for February. Number 10 was Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which
Oh, that's the digital and all right. I'm looking at the download only.
okay. Yeah, we're going to start with that. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Shawn, you got that one. You're on that list.
Well, I mean, I got it at launch, but yeah, they keep putting it on sale, so I'm not surprised.
Just Dance 2023 edition, which you remember last time it came up on the show, I was surprised that many people buy Just Dance.
Well,
I guess it's got a following.
It's popular everywhere but here.
No surprise, Octopath Traveler 2 is number 7. In fact, I thought that would go a little higher.
Actually, I did see that Octopath 2 sold less, like by 30% or something compared to
Yeah, it's
Octopath
getting
1.
very mediocre reviews, I've noticed. Like, nobody is blown away by it, which I think would have helped sales. Mario Party Superstars is on there, which I love me a Mario Party. Minecraft, number 5, another game I'm surprised is still selling.
No, I feel like that's on the list constantly. And the next one.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be on the list forever. That's number 4. Probably people excited about the new DLC. They're like, all right, fine, I'll finally download it. Or they used to have a physical copy, and now they're like, I'll just download it. Number 3, Stardew Valley. Can't go wrong. Like, that should be mandatory on everyone's Switch.
Nope.
Yep.
Number 2, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
All right,
So you remember how I said I want the next Nintendo system to have a naming convention like Nintendo 64 and did everything in 64? I'm starting to notice that Deluxe is the Switch thing because one that's not on this list is New Super Mario Wii U Deluxe.
Yeah, they use Deluxe a lot. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, yeah.
Yep. And the number 1 eShop game was for I think last month was Metroid Prime Remastered.
Of course.
I'll bet the price point helped that a lot. The $40.
That and just the fact they, surprise dropped it, and I don't know. I think a lot of factors went into that.
I watched a video this week on why Metroid doesn't sell as well as other Nintendo franchises, and they didn't really have an answer. But they did mention one thing I remember from the video is that it has the potential to sell well. I think this proves it. And they were saying when Metroid Prime first launched on the GameCube system sales wise, it didn't have a big install base. So
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but a very high percentage of GameCube owners also owned Metroid Prime. So
And I think
if the system was doing better, the game would have done better.
And I think that's with Tears of the Kingdom and the $70 price point. They have an even bigger install base for that game than Breath of the Wild. So,
yep.
And isn't it just awesome? Like, have you guys played the remastered? Like, isn't it just
it's on
really
my
good?
list.
I've literally played the prologue and I have not had a chance to go back to it, but I've enjoyed what I did play.
Yeah, because I mean, it was Shadow Drop, but everyone I've heard that have played it like just loves it. So,
that's why it's on my list, and I hope I can get to it someday.
So that's one I missed on GameCube, and I'm like, you know what? I really liked Metroid Dread, let me finally give Prime a shot, and I like it, and I'm hoping the other two also get releases.
See, here's the thing. I have it on GameCube, and I beat it on GameCube like 15 years ago.
But you don't remember it.
Exactly. Like, I don't remember 15 days ago. So, like, you remember you and I on our other podcast had a conversation about a game. I booted up, I put in a game and thought I had never played it. It was like, I thought it was one of those games I bought and didn't play. And I booted it up, and I had a file on there that had like 65
Oh,
hours.
yeah. And you're like, I don't know when
I
this
was
occurred.
like, I don't remember even playing this game. So, yeah.
Then the download only stuff, since I got it in front of me. Number 10's Little Nightmares. That's a really good
What
game.
what is that?
It's a 2D platformer.
Okay.
Number 9's Blank, which looked cute. That's the game where you're the fox and the deer, and you're trying to find your families, and you have to like
Yeah,
work
I almost
together.
bought that.
Um,
Again, though, my list's too big right now.
Number 8, since Harrison enjoys it, Inside, which
Inside, yep.
another 2D platformer. Little Nightmares is in that vein, so I could see that. Number
It-
7, The Last Campfire. I'm not positive what that one is, but I always hear people saying it's good.
Isn't
Um,
Last Campfire kind of like Little Nightmares, or am I
I'm not sure because
am I
I don't
totally
know if
wrong?
it's like that or Night in the Woods. Like if it's that type game. Number 6 is a game I haven't really played much, but it was 99 cents, and I think it's still 99 cents. But WBSCE Baseball Power Pros.
Oh yeah,
Number 5 is Windbound. I'm not sure what that is. Number 4 is Disney Dreamlight Valley, which sounds, from what I can gather, like a sim type game.
I feel like they only released this list so they can give more shout outs to indie games, because obviously indie games are going to be download only. So that's why they
Most of
like
them, yeah.
dominate this list. Yeah.
Number 3 is another one my niece and nephew love, Among Us. I could
of
see
course.
it being fun if you know everybody, but I can't see
It's
that
free,
being.
isn't it?
No, it's
It's
like $5.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But I can't see it being fun with random people. People you know, yeah, okay. Goat Simulator's number 2. I think that was another one that went on sale because Goat Simulator 3, which is actually the second game released on things.
Not to be confused with the goat sketch Adam Sandler did on They're All Gonna Laugh at You.
But probably is hilarious. And number 1, Stardew Valley.
Long live Stardew Valley.
Is
Maybe
Stardew
one day I'll
Valley?
try it.
Is Stardew digital only? Really? I guess so.
No, it's
It
both.
definitely had a physical release at some
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
but
You
I'm
can still
guessing
get
maybe
it.
it was limited.
No, you can still get the physical release Stardew.
Well, then I don't know why it's on this list. This whole list is a lie and a sham.
They're just
That's
cheating. It's Stardew. I mean,
yeah.
who cares?
Because it's like, all right, well, if Stardew sold that much digitally, why are none of these other games that are available both ways on this list? So
Yeah.
So before we get into our Donkey Kong Jr. talk, I've got one rumor. So the rumor section. Metroid Zero Mission screenshots were found on Nintendo Switch Online by data miners. So this is like a two-part rumor. So the screenshots not only kind of confirm that game is coming to Nintendo Switch Online, but they what the screenshots were featured in was kind of like an instructional thing on how to link up games. So this attaches to the rumor that the Pokemon games are coming and you're going to be able to trade Pokemon.
okay,
Because I didn't see the images, but I just read this in text form, but it said that like it was like an image where Nintendo is showing you how to link Game Boy Advance games and how to link Game Boy games using the Switch Online service. And I guess Metroid Zero mission links to Metroid Fusion and you unlock like an art gallery. So I obviously this is like a weird gray area between rumor and news because it seems pretty legitimate. I think this is definitely coming. The question is when,
So
because go ahead.
yeah, Zero Mission's the remake of the original Metroid. I'm
Yes.
hoping it gets added because that's the way I'd like to play it because I cannot get into the original Metroid no matter how many times I've tried.
No, I did it, so you have to do it.
You're really
I
making me
actually
want to
really
play
like it. I really like it. I'm so into Metroid right now that one of the nights that my wife has class, I was watching on our TV, which I've never done this before. On TV, I loaded up YouTube and was just watching a let's play of the original Metroid, which I'm in that kind of mood.
You get the bug.
Yeah. It's a good game. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was a really cool rumor because it also links up with the rumors of, Pokemon games are coming and you're going to be able to trade Pokemon. I wonder if you're only going to be able to trade on your Switch or if you'll be able to trade online with other people.
I thought it involved the app, like the Switch app somehow.
Oh,
But
maybe.
It could. Yeah, I only saw like basically what I just said was that zero mission screenshots were shown in the instructions for how to link games. I didn't see what the instructions for how to link games like what it was.
yeah, I mean that would be crazy if they released that because it would be so popular, and if we're also getting Pokemon Stadium as well, and it's going to connect with that, then
Well, did you see that that's where this like connection thing kind of first leaked? Because I guess in Japan there was an ad for how Pokemon Stadium is coming to Switch Online eventually. And originally in the ad, it had like a legal disclaimer that said something about not being able to connect to Game Boy games. And then they removed that disclaimer. So that was like where the buzz first started like a month ago about this.
it'd be so exciting. That would be great.
It would be.
Yeah. And I'm also waiting for the trading card game. And why Pokemon never made another trading card game or at least a mobile version of it, I will never know. It's it's so confusing to me. It seems like free money to me.
Yeah, of all the things, it's not like they're shy about putting out Pokemon stuff. Like I almost feel like they don't even know everything they're putting out. They're like, "Wait, we had a Pokemon game drop today?"
Right. Right. Pokemon Go plus plus.
Deluxe.
Deluxe, exactly.
And then I think we can move into our feature spotlight now, which last week we randomly selected Donkey Kong Jr. to talk about off of the Switch Online service. It was Nintendo's Donkey Kong, the first one. I don't want to talk too much about it because that's another game on the list.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? So it's a follow-up to Donkey Kong, obviously, which was Nintendo's first smash hit. It came out August 2nd, 1982 in Japan in the arcades. And for the NES version, it was actually one of 3 Japanese launch titles for the Famicom. So when you bought your Famicom, there was Mario, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. And that's what was available in Japan.
Uh, what systems have you guys played it on? Because I have an interesting story about this game.
I have only played it on the original NES and I guess my Switch, if you want to count it that way. But this is a game I did play back in the day. Some of these I have no memory of. I do remember this game.
So I played it on Switch and I played it on Atari 2600.
I never saw. Well, you know what? That's a good point. I have right here the list of systems it was released on. So Donkey Kong Jr. was released on the arcade, Atari 8-bit, Atari 2600, Atari 7800, BBC Micro, Coleco Atom, ColecoVision, Famicom, NES, Intellivision, and e-reader. So a lot of places.
So so I originally played this on the original Nintendo. Of course, played it on Switch. I also have played it on the 2600. But the
Yep.
most unique thing that I totally forgot about, and I went on a deep dive this week. I played this game inside the original Animal Crossing on GameCube,
Oh yeah. I
which
forgot about that. And unlike the later Animal Crossings, they let you have the full game, right?
right,
Like it
right.
wasn't timed where it would like boot you out.
I mean, I mean, I beat Zelda inside Animal Crossing. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
didn't beat Zelda, but I remember unlocking it. You needed like a special code because it was something that they didn't like they didn't they were planning on like putting like releasing it in the game or something, but they never actually did, so you needed to go to Tom Nook and use a password to get it, I think. Like it's not I you know how you trade items in Animal Crossing? I don't think Zelda ever gets traded. Like they took it out of the trade option, but you could still unlock it.
right. Well, apparently there were some digital codes that were released through like the website, and it was temporary. But I had all of these games. Like the first time I played Cuckoo Land was inside Animal Crossing. Uh, or and it had all these classes. It had Mario, had Excite Bite. It would have
I
games
think it
like
had Star Fox too.
yeah, and it
Not
would
Star
have
Fox
like
2, but Star Fox as well.
as well. So it had overall, at least the American Animal Crossing had 19 different NES games that you could collect through various methods. And I forgot, and thinking back, I remember I used to think that was so awesome before like emulation or accessibility to just whatever game you wanted to play. It's like I we get games inside of a game. This is great.
You get to so it's a game about relaxing and you can go relax in your living room and play video games while relaxing in your living room playing video games.
Yeah. But the only real question would be then, can Animal Crossing play Doom? Which we don't know.
It probably can.
I'm sure it can. Everything can play Doom.
I think Tom Nook's PC could play Doom in Animal Crossing. Sean, you're a huge Donkey Kong Country fan. So
You're
how
gonna
do you
throw it
feel
at
about
me.
this game in comparison? Its roots, because isn't this Donkey Kong Jr. canonically, I think, is the grandfather in Country, right?
No, Donkey Kong is Cranky Kong.
Oh, so is Donkey Kong Jr. not in Country?
I think Donkey Kong Jr. is just a separate character because the only other time I remember seeing him is Super Mario Kart, and I can't think of any other time he's appeared because it's
Oh, he's appeared in stuff.
somehow not Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong. So I don't know. It,
Um,
it's funny because if it was now, it would just be Diddy Kong trying to save Donkey Kong. So
I'm trying to think of what else he appeared in. I should have gotten that as a list because, like, I think he's in another NES game. I could be wrong about
he
that.
certainly could be.
Oh, there's Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I'm seeing on my quick search here, but that wasn't it. He's
Right.
in Mario Tennis. That's what I was thinking of. That's not an NES game, but he's in Mario Tennis
Oh, the
on
Virtual Boy
Nintendo
one?
60. Yes,
Okay, yeah. No, you're right. He is in that. So,
and the Nintendo 64 one.
oh, is he unlockable?
It says he also appeared in Virtual Boy Mario Tennis and as a hidden character in Nintendo 64 version. So yeah,
Oh, okay. I don't think we ever unlocked him. So,
he's got a Game and Watch. That's pretty much it. Game Boy Advance versions of Super Mario Brothers 3. What? Oh, because it had Donkey Kong Jr. on there. Okay. Anyway, that's where he's been.
Is
So
this the
not listed is Donkey Kong Country, which is what got us on this subject.
is this the shortest game you guys have reviewed so far?
It's got to be. What are there only 4 screens?
I don't know. I only get to the second screen.
Well, in my research, I read that they pretty much. It's unfortunate that we're doing these in this order, but random. Because I want to talk about Donkey Kong so much, but we will someday. But in my research, I found out that while they were developing Donkey Kong, they basically also developed Donkey Kong Jr. because they had so many ideas that wouldn't fit into the game that they all became this game.
Sounds
So,
about right.
so many ideas that became a 5-minute game.
The play style is completely different.
Yeah,
it was a different time, and also we could also say that Donkey Kong Jr. is in fact the longest game. I mean,
yeah, because it goes for infinity.
It depends on your philosophy, I guess. So, yeah.
I'm waiting for the sequel to King of Kong to feature the world record of Donkey Kong Jr. When's Billy Mitchell going to go for that record?
Yeah. I mean, I was watching some of the speed runs on the NES version, and it's just, I mean, I don't know if there was like RNG in this game. Actually, when I was playing the Switch port, I was struggling with knowing, like, are these mechanics just horrible, or is the Switch freezing on me during this time? Which is
the Switch can't handle Pokemon, and now it can't even handle Donkey Kong Jr.
So Donkey Kong Jr. just has bad game mechanics. So
yeah. I had fun with it, though. Am I the only one here who enjoyed my time with Donkey Kong Jr.?
So here's the thing. I was disappointed with it because I remember it being a little more fun when I played it on Atari. And like I said, I couldn't get past the second level. But because I'm a Donkey Kong fan and out of spite, I still put it above Ice Climbers.
Wait. Okay, we can do rankings if you want. We can actually enter Harrison in because he's been here for 2 games now. So Harrison, I'm going to guess you're going to rank this one below Yoshi's Island.
Yes. Donkey Kong Jr. will be the Top Gun Maverick to the Sonic. Oh, what's the movie that came out this year?
It's just called Sonic 2, isn't it?
It'll be the Top Gun Maverick to Sonic 2. And if you're not sure what that means, you have to listen to the last episode.
So this is the bottom of Shawn's list, and kind of by default the bottom of Harrison's list. But
no. It's still above Ice Climbers.
Oh, you put it above. I thought you said you put it below.
No. I enjoyed it more than that still.
Interesting, because I'm going to put it above Ice Climbers. Oh, no, I put it below. Sorry, my Ice Climbers is just higher than you. So for me, I also put this below Ice Climbers and above Kung Fu Heroes. So I think my list is starting to stack out where the first 3 games on here I feel are decent to good games. And then this middle here, Ice Climber and Donkey Kong Jr., I'm like, they're okay for arcade games. They are what they are. And then Spanky's Quest I just did not like. And Kung Fu Heroes I kind of didn't like either.
No, I still stand by Ice Climbers. Still,
you have Kung Fu Heroes ranked 3rd still.
I do. It was fun.
It's not that good.
I enjoyed it. I don't know what to tell you.
We're gonna have to have Harrison play it for his next appearance.
Well, for Kung Fu Heroes, like Shawn, like, would it be a C tier, D tier, like F tier? What would it be for you?
I mean, it's like a D tier early NES arcade port.
Okay, Kevin, how about you?
I honestly never want to play it again. So whatever the lowest tier is, it's always going to be on the lowest tier for me. I think I'm just bad at it. But like I was saying a few times, the hit detection, I don't know. Your fist kind of only reaches the same square as your body, so I don't know how close to get to an enemy without taking damage. It's one of those games. And that
So
just will not stand with me. So I've added Metroid Fusion to the randomizer because that got added to Switch Online this week.
Okay.
It never picks the games that I add, so we'll see if that happens this week. Let me get the randomizer ready to go here, and then we will find out what we're playing next week. Okay, we really are burning through those NES games. Again, because we know it's the biggest chunk of the list, so of course they're most likely going to come up. But I got good news. It's a good NES game. Super Mario Brothers 3 is the game we're playing next week.
oh wow.
Couldn't have asked for a better game.
Well, I'll see if I can find some stuff to complain about, but
You don't have to complain.
no, it's that's gonna be so tough. What else is there to say about that game?
Yeah, that is going to be the challenge, is like a lot of these, it's going to be like, what hasn't been said about this game already?
Last week we picked almost every power up from it. I mean,
yeah. Woo. Randomizer doing us a favor there. So, yeah, but like you said, like some of these, like A Link to the Past, what hasn't been said about A Link to the Past, but eventually it's going to come up. Super Mario 64, another huge one. Like that's going to, Ocarina of Time. Like these games are on there. They're going to come up.
Yeah, but those are the games I argue with you a lot about, Zen 64, so that's okay.
I was kind of hoping for Metroid 2 because I finished that this week.
Well, too bad, all right?
It'll show up eventually. Harrison, feel free to come back next week and talk about it with us.
And also, you hate it, so
one of my favorite games. So I think.
Yeah, we definitely need to have Harrison on next week to talk about it if it's one of his favorite games.
Yeah,
I like it. I don't like it that much, but it's like I don't know. I don't know where it would rank in my Marios. We're gonna see where it ranks in my Switch games, though. Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, on my top 5, it was number 1 for Mario games. So.
Oh yeah, we did that. I preferred World, but that's on the list too. That's another one where we're going to get to Super Mario World and be like, what else is there to say that hasn't been said already? But
why isn't it Yoshi's Island?
It's like one of the things where like we're going to have the most to talk about when it's a game no one's ever heard of, but we're going to have the most fun when it's a game like Super Mario Bros. 3.
I think that's the thing, is Donkey Kong Jr.'s in like the weird middle area.
Yeah. Dang it, Junior. Harrison, do you have anywhere you'd like to direct our listeners to?
No. Same as last time. Same as last time. If you want to read words that I write, harrisonpostwords.com. But there is absolutely no video game content on there. So
okay.
So nothing I want to plug today. Thanks for having me back.
Oh yeah, anytime. So like I always say, we're Nintendo fans, we're not Nintendo experts. And you remember when bands used to have street teams?
Yeah.
Like you could be the street team for this podcast, because if there's Nintendo news out there we're somehow not finding and you want us to talk about it, email us at nintendotherapypod@gmail.com, or you can get at us on the Twitter. We're at Nintendotherapy, and let us know, because we're not going to not talk about something if you say, hey, I want to hear this on the podcast. We will get right on it. So
you're bringing back that get at us, huh?
Yeah, get at us. And we've got the Reddit group that's probably going to die someday, but it's still there. 4 members strong.
Yeah.
And like, I want to post on it, but it's not really worth posting when there's only 4 people there and 2 of them are us. So get on there so I can start doing polls and fun things. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Harrison, for coming and doing the Nintendo talk. And we will see everyone next week for Super Mario Brothers 3 plus news.